So I wanted to do a end of the summer wrap-up video. It is now September 12th, and it's been a great summer. Nice warm weather. It's starting to cool off a bit now, but the plants have had a lot of growth in the summer. So I just wanted to show you a few features of the garden that I'm really happy with. Starting with the front bank here. This is in front of our property. Planted a few palms here, some yuccas. I also have my agaves here in pots, which I do bring in for the winter. This is the Camerups Humilis cerifera. It's had some pretty good growth on it this summer, as you can see. Does pretty well over the winters also. I just cover it if it gets anywhere below -10. A few yuccas here, Gloriosa variegatas. It's a Yucca rostrata here, which is also slowly making progress. This is one I rescued from a garden center for cheap. I paid $40 for that Yucca rostrata, and has about 1.5 foot of trunk, so I just had to get it back into healthy shape. So it's slowly getting there. Here's some filamentosa yuccas. Also have some collard guards in here. Unfortunately, the deer are starting to eat the collard guards. I'm not sure why. They also eat the blooms off all the yuccas, which is annoying. But living on an island like we do, we have to put up with the deer. Here's the needle palm. Also done some good growth this year. Another rostrata right there. And this is a magenta yucca. Some phormium. And then in the back there I also have some Yucca Blue Century. And that's pretty much it. And this Trachycarpus, which suffered quite a bit this last winter due to heavy snow snapping its petioles, has recovered now and is starting to fill out a bit better on the top, because I also cut a lot of the petioles off because they were snapped. And if you look closely, it's got some pretty healthy growth now. So that's good to see. This winter, if it gets really cold, I am going to try and protect it somewhat. Maybe put a heat cable around it and a tarp over it. If it gets again to -12, which we had here, it was kind of on the brink of it not being happy. Definitely don't want to lose it. Let's take a look on the other side of the driveway. So the other side of the driveway here, these yuccas are doing really good. Also a Gloriosa here, non-variegated form, and some variegated filamentosas. And I'm happy to announce that the Sable Minor has now shown some life. In my last videos of the garden, I showed you guys the Sable Minor with no growth for half a year. And now I'm happy to announce it's pushed out 3 new spears. The first 2 ones were disfigured because of the cold damage, but this new one here appears healthy. So this Sable Minor is very much alive. So I'm happy about that, because it was an expensive palm. But it just shows how hardy they are, that even after 6 months of no growth due to cold damage, which it incurred at the nursery, it has recovered and is now growing again. It's very hardy palms. This is Blue Century Yucca. This is a Cordyline indivisa, which has also recovered nicely from the winter. Yucca Glauca. And this is another Sable Minor that I bought off a hobbyist. This one, he tells me is 7 years old, but I don't know if I can believe that. It doesn't even have split fronds yet. It's only got the flag leaf. Well, actually, the flag leaf has split in two, but yeah, for 7 years old, it's very, very slow. Here's the star of the show, Yucca rostrata. This is a big one. It's got almost 2 feet of trunk on it, forming a nice skirt. And this is a trooper, completely unfazed with our cold, wet winters. Last year got down -12. It's looking really good. Another small Sable Minor in there. This one's from Banana Joe, Razorback Sable Minor. Another agave here. These agaves I bring inside the greenhouse during the winter. Here's the eucalyptus. Very slow to grow, but hardy, which is what I want. And then these are the color guard yuccas. This phormium has pretty much recovered, which is nice. This red phormium took some winter damage. Another color guard yucca there. Again, look at the growth on these yuccas. They look just great. This one's actually split in 3 after it flowered. And then this magnolia, Cape Harris, evergreen magnolia, snapped in half after a heavy snow event during the winter. Well, look at all the new growth on it this year. So it's now bushier, happier, and it's got all those leaders up there from where it snapped. It's got 3 or 4 leaders up there, so it's going to be a nice bushy tree now instead of such a columnar tree, which I don't mind. Looking really great in the sun too. Okay, let's take a look inside the fence. These are my Musa Baju, which are about 15 feet high this year, and they are looking good. They had a very slow start. We had a cool, wet spring, and they were taking forever to come up. And I was kind of losing hope of them getting large this year, but they really started growing in July and then August. And I think they're still putting on some growth now in September. We're about 20 degrees Celsius right now during the days, and about lows down to 13°C at night. For a while there we had a bit of a heat wave, so we had 27°C during the day with really high humidity, almost 80% humidity, which made it feel more like 30. This is Mucilacio carpa, or the Chinese lotus banana. Over here, this alocasia also has bounced back very slowly this year, but as you can see, it's quite beautiful. And my pineapple guavas also bounced back despite snapping in half from the heavy snow load. You can see all the new growth down there, so that's nice to see. This is my Chilean wine palm, also putting on lots of growth, much taller this year, and looks very happy. All I did to this during the -12 event in the winter was I built a little structure out of 2x4s, and I put a tarp over it, and then I had some old-fashioned Christmas lights in there for heat. It seemed to have worked quite well. It's a little Wagnerianus. This suffered damage. It was planted in the ground during the winter, so I decided to pull it out because it kind of looked like crap, and I put it in this pot, but cut off all the damaged fronds, and it recovered nicely. Has some new growth, but I think I'm going to keep it in a pot for another year or 2 before I decide to plant it out again. I think it needs that maturity to it in order to get more hardy. Some more clump of Musa Baju. This is just our pollinator garden. Oh yeah, I have 2 more bananas here. I bought a blue Java banana not too long ago, about a month and a half ago. And obviously it's not going to do much this year, but I'm going to try and keep it alive in the greenhouse. And then hopefully next year it will get big, and I don't know, maybe we'll get some bananas. And then another red Abyssinian banana here, which again I bought as a pretty tiny plant because the big one I had a couple years back didn't make the winter, so I think it just rotted. So I started again because I do love them. I love the colors on them. Then over here is the other Trachycarpus fortunei. Again, this one suffered from the heavy snow load, and it had a lot of petioles snapped off, so I ended up cutting it, giving it a bad haircut. Looked like hell for a bit, but it has definitely bounced back, and you can see the new growth up in there. Looks great. Over here I just got some fancy rhododendrons, Camofacia, and over here is the Schlafera, which also got tons of new growth this summer. As you can see, it branched into 3 branches, and look at the growth on it, just amazing. And then next to it is this monster Tetrapanax, which out of all my plants put on the most growth. Look at the size of these fronds or leaves, just massive. The trunk's massive. So I don't know how I'm going to protect it this winter. I think I might just, once the leaves start dying back a bit, I might just cut them off and protect the main trunk. See if I can keep some of that growth, that height to it for next year. But look at it, it's almost the height of the palm now. It's definitely about 7 feet tall. There's the Trachy and there's the Tetrapanax. Huge. And then the Schlafera next to it. Let's check out the deck. All right, so we're on the deck here. This is probably my favorite part of the garden, or at least of the outdoor spaces. I just love sitting out here watching the sunsets and being surrounded by exotic plants. My queen palm put on a lot of growth. Now I'm thinking I'm going to actually move it inside into the bedroom for the winter instead of the greenhouse. And I'm hoping it'll just carry on growing because it's really healthy and happy. And I want to enjoy it during the winter. These are the succulent beds. This is actually a hardy aloe, which will survive our climate outside. I also put the bamboos that I dug up in a separate video. I don't know if you guys have seen it. But I put them in these square planters just for a little privacy between neighbors. See the other succulent bed. The Brugmansias are really slow to bloom this year, but they are starting to bloom, which is nice. They smell really wonderful in the evening time. Raspberry ice bougainvillea. Check out these succulents here. Isn't that beautiful? Canada lilies are also kind of late to bloom this year. And then this is the Brahea armata. Also put on some new fronds. Starting to push. This guy goes into the greenhouse if it gets really cold, otherwise he spends all winter outside. It's a young Cerifera. It grew from a very small plant. And this is an older one I bought last year. I really love them because the blue color stands out nicely against the greens. And here's the cycad that has not flushed this year, But if you look down there, it will anytime because it's starting to push. This thing also spends outside most of the year on the deck. And then here's the small waggy. Here are my plumerias. This one bloomed last year. And this one I brought back from Hawaii over the winter. Here's a croton I picked up for $5 at the grocery store about a month ago. And then I have a pretty big agave collection, but I kind of have them all over the place. Here I have them on the deck, the side table, which people can't use anymore because I got plants everywhere. Too bad. And then this Trachycarpus fortunei, which I dug out of a client's yard as a small seedling. This was 3 years ago, I believe. Well, it's really starting to push now. And then this is a variegated Brugmansia. Smells just heavenly in the evening time. And then lastly, I want to show you my Trachycarpus manipur, which was planted in this boxed planter over the winter, but unfortunately suffered quite a bit of cold damage. So they're definitely not as hardy as a fortunei. I actually thought it was dead, but after about a month or so, it started pushing again. And this is the growth it's put on this summer. So I'm very happy it's alive, but I think now I'm gonna keep it in a pot and take it into a greenhouse if it gets really cold, because I don't want to lose it. Such a unique palm. Trachycarpus manipur has really nice white to the back of the fronds, and gets this fuzz also on the trunk. And then I bought another Tasmanian tree fern because I love them, and I lost mine that was also planted in this planter one year. But this year I think I'm going to protect it. I'm going to wrap them like my client does, with burlap and bubble wrap, and protect them because they are really special. You can see the trunk forming down there, and then I got a small one here as well. Tasmanian tree fern. I might as well show you guys quickly the citrus. Citrus are producing. I got limes, lemons, and mandarins. And I also bought, not too long ago, a sumo mandarin. So the actual name of it is Shiranui mandarin, but you see them in the stores labeled as sumo citrus or sumo mandarin. So it put out a few fruits here developing. Apparently they're quite challenging to grow, but so far it's been pretty good. So we should have some citrus ripening up in the next few weeks, which would be nice. And I also have some finger limes here. Then over here is the remainder of the plants that I don't know what to do with. Well, yeah, this foxtail agave that I have right here put out some pups. So these are the pups off of that foxtail agave. That's pretty cool. Anyways, that's a quick wrap up to the garden. End of summer. I know we still have a few weeks of nice weather, so it's not quite the end of summer, but I want to show you guys what kind of growth some of these plants had and which ones recovered fully from winter. And let's hope this winter is not going to be that bad. They are predicting a cold winter, but again, it's all over the place. Last year was supposed to be mild, then we had this Arctic -12 outflow, which ended up pissing off a lot of plants. So we'll see what the winter brings. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great day.